You ever watch a reality show and feel like you're only getting half the story? Hey everyone, Sabrina here with TLC's Welcome to Plathville News. If you love breaking down the real drama behind the cameras, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments. Do you believe what TLC shows you? Or is there always more going on that they don't want us to see? Because with Welcome to Plathville, what we've been shown on TV is only the tip of the iceberg. And Season 7 might be the moment the rest finally cracks open. On camera, the Plaths are presented as this picture-perfect, quirky but charming family from rural Georgia. A group navigating faith, family, and freedom with a little tension but lots of smiles. The promos show sunlit fields, soft music, and wholesome laughs. But if you've been watching closely, you know there's another side. The arguments, the emotional distance, the sudden disappearances from family gatherings. They've all been there in plain sight but never quite explained. And that's where the real story lives. In the difference between TLC's polished, edited version and the moments we've seen with our own eyes in aired episodes, plus what cast members have gone on record saying later. That's where you start to see cracks in the carefully managed image. Two women, in particular, have given us glimpses of the truth behind the curtain. Olivia, who married into the Plath family and found herself caught between love and loyalty, and Veronica, who viewers met through Micah but whose own story hints at patterns we can't ignore. They've both been part of the on-screen story, but they've also stepped outside the show's filter to share what their experiences were really like. When we first met Olivia on Welcome to Plathville, she and Ethan seemed like the quiet rebels of the Plath family. From the start, they bonded. Vera shared sense that some of the Plath family's strictest rules, about clothing, dating, music, and even sugar, were more controlling than protective. In early seasons, we saw them take small steps together to challenge those restrictions, whether it was Olivia introducing Ethan to new foods or encouraging him to try experiences he'd never been allowed growing up. But those early moments of unity didn't last forever. As the seasons progressed, tension began to creep in, both in their marriage and in their relationships with the rest of the Plath family. In one memorable episode, Ethan confronted Olivia about her unwillingness to attend family gatherings, while Olivia countered that she felt judged and unwelcome. This wasn't just a lover's spat. It was a direct clash over values, boundaries, and how much they should bend to keep the peace. The cameras caught moments where their conversations grew sharp and guarded. In one scene, Ethan wanted to visit his parents, but Olivia expressed concerns about the emotional toll those visits took. In another, they debated their vastly different upbringings. Ethan's rooted in the Plath's strict conservative faith, and Olivia's shaped by her own complex religious background. Education came up too. Olivia often hinted at wanting a broader worldview, while Ethan sometimes seemed unsure how far outside his comfort zone he was willing to go. In this video, we're going to unpack those moments, the ones you've seen, the ones they've confirmed publicly, and how together they paint a much more complicated picture of life inside the Plath orbit. And trust me, it's a lot harder to watch once you know what's been left out. What's key here is that these disagreements weren't just between Ethan and Olivia. They were part of a bigger, ongoing rift between Olivia and the wider Plath family dynamic. Episodes showed her being left out of group activities, standing apart during tense conversations, and openly questioning family traditions that other members defended. Viewers saw Kim and Barry's guarded interactions with her, and how even siblings who were closer to Ethan sometimes sided with the parents when conflicts flared. Outside of the show, Olivia's public comments have echoed those same themes we saw on camera. In interviews and on social media, she's spoken about experiencing verbal conflict, feeling gaslit, and being pressured to conform to beliefs that didn't align with her own. She's addressed the emotional cost of constantly defending her boundaries, something that viewers could see play out in scenes where she appeared drained, frustrated, or simply absent from family events altogether. By the time we reached the more recent seasons, the gap between Olivia and the rest of the Plath family felt nearly impossible to close. The episodes showed it plainly. Her tension with Ethan was tied to a deeper incompatibility with the family system itself, a system where questioning tradition often came with emotional fallout. And while the show's editing sometimes softened those edges, Olivia's own on-record statements confirmed what many viewers suspected. The friction wasn't just about marriage. It was about survival in a family dynamic that demanded silence over truth. When Veronica first stepped into Welcome to Plathville, it was through her connection to Micah. She wasn't part of the Plath family by blood or marriage, but her relationship with Micah brought her into the orbit of the show's close-knit and often high-tension family dynamic. Early appearances painted her as warm, open, and eager to get to know the people who were so central to Micah's life. Viewers saw her at group gatherings, smiling politely during introductions, blending into the social atmosphere while still clearly feeling out her place in the circle. But even in those first episodes, subtle cues hinted that being Micah's partner meant stepping into more than just a relationship. It meant navigating the Plath family's unique social code. There were moments during wedding events and group outings where Veronica appeared on the periphery, sometimes looking uncertain or left out. While the family could be warm in short bursts, the atmosphere often shifted quickly when deeper conversations or value clashes came up. Veronica has since made public comments that line up with what viewers picked up on in those scenes. Without naming specifics beyond what aired, she's mentioned the tension she felt in certain group settings, and how the dynamic could feel unsafe. Not necessarily in a physical sense, but in how it seemed emotionally charged and unpredictable. Fans who remember her quieter reactions during big family scenes can easily connect those dots. Her perspective mirrors Olivia's in striking ways. Like Olivia, Veronica entered the family system as an outsider, quickly learning that being accepted wasn't just about showing up. It was about fitting into an established rhythm of beliefs, boundaries, and unspoken rules. Both women, in their own ways, found themselves balancing personal comfort with the pressure to maintain harmony in an environment that didn't always feel neutral. On the show, Veronica and Micah's romance unfolded alongside his growing independence from the family. Their connection seemed strong at first, shared laughs, supportive conversations, and a mutual openness to trying new things. But as time went on, cracks began to form. Scenes hinted at differences in lifestyle preferences and long-term priorities. Micah's modeling career and growing public persona required a certain flexibility and openness to the outside world. Veronica, for her part, seemed less willing to compromise on certain boundaries and values. Eventually, their relationship ended, something both addressed publicly without bitterness, but with acknowledgement that they were on different paths. For viewers who'd been paying attention, the breakup fit into a larger pattern the show has documented season after season. When a Plath family member's partner doesn't fully align with the family's worldview, tension builds until separation feels inevitable. Veronica's story, like Olivia's, underscores a theme that runs deep in Welcome to Plathville. Outsiders can be welcomed in, but staying often comes at the cost of personal boundaries. And for some, that's a price they're simply not willing to pay. One of the most consistent patterns in Welcome to Plathville, and one longtime viewers have picked up on, is the way TLC edits conflict. The disagreements are there, the tension is real, but often it's softened in the final cut, smoothed over into something more digestible than what it likely felt like in the moment. Take a look at how arguments are often framed. In more than one episode, we've seen Ethan and Olivia sitting down to talk about faith, finances, or family boundaries. But instead of showing a sustained, difficult conversation, the show frequently cuts away mid-discussion, or fades to a scene of them laughing or working on a shared task. The shift in tone, it can be jarring, almost as if the tension was only a brief hiccup instead of an unresolved issue still lingering beneath the surface. The same goes for group gatherings. Fans remember a wedding-related episode where the atmosphere on camera felt light, with only a few awkward pauses. Yet later public comments from cast members hinted at undercurrents of conflict and discomfort that weren't fully captured on screen. It's not that TLC fabricates happiness, it's that they trim away the prolonged silence, the sharper words, and the moments where no one knows quite what to say. Promos add another layer to this. In marketing clips, the Plaths are often positioned as either a charming, slightly eccentric family figuring life out together, or as a lovable band of misfits with the occasional quirk. Those sunny shots of rural Georgia, playful banter, and soft acoustic music work hard to set a tone, one that doesn't quite match the reality of the more serious disputes viewers have actually seen play out in full episodes. For example, the separation between Ethan and Olivia was teased in promos as a journey of self-discovery, with both smiling in interviews. But when the episodes aired, their scenes included real strain, direct disagreements, and quiet moments that spoke volumes about emotional distance. It wasn't cruel editing. It was selective storytelling. The effect is clear. Viewers get enough of the truth to follow the plot, but not always the raw, unfiltered intensity of the relationships in motion. It's conflict presented at half strength, palatable for a primetime audience, but missing some of the edges that give the full picture. And in a show built on family drama, those edges can make all the difference in understanding why relationships shift, strain, or break. If you zoom out from each individual storyline, another pattern starts to come into focus. One that's been playing out quietly for seasons. Women connected to the Plath family often end up leaving the orbit altogether. We've watched it happen with Olivia. Her earliest appearances showed her trying to make it work, spending time with the family, attending events, and navigating differences with Ethan's parents. But over the seasons, her participation dwindled. By the later episodes, she was often seen apart from larger family gatherings, voicing her discomfort with certain values and rules, and ultimately creating physical and emotional distance. Then there's Lydia. While her own marriage storyline is still unfolding, viewers have noticed that her relationship discussions carry a familiar undercurrent. Questions about boundaries, independence, and how much of the Plath worldview she'll carry into her own home. In some episodes, Lydia seems torn between honoring her family's traditions and pursuing a path that allows for more personal choice. And of course, Veronica, who entered the picture through Micah, brought a fresh outside perspective. Early on, she appeared comfortable, even supportive within group settings. But over time, her social media posts and on-screen body language hinted at unease. When her relationship with Micah ended, it aligned with themes fans had seen before. Value clashes, discomfort in group dynamics, and a reluctance to adapt to the family's more rigid cultural framework. This isn't new either. Past seasons have featured other friends, partners, and even extended relatives whose connections to the Plaths faded after similar tensions surfaced. The reasons vary: personal beliefs, lifestyle differences, even the intensity of family involvement in private matters, but the outcome is often the same. Fans on social media have definitely noticed. Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and TikTok commentary are filled with speculation about whether this is coincidence or a clear sign of the family's difficulty in maintaining long-term connections with outsiders. Some see it as self-preservation for those who leave. Others believe it's simply the natural result of deeply held, uncompromising beliefs meeting modern relationships. So here's the big question for you. Is this just life and love taking its course? Or are we watching a repeating cycle in which people, especially women, eventually have to step away to protect their own independence? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because after 7 seasons, the pattern is hard to ignore. When you step back and look at Olivia and Veronica's stories side by side, the similarities are impossible to miss. 2 women, from different backgrounds, stepping into the Plath family circle and finding themselves navigating the same emotional landmines. Both brought their own values, their own boundaries, and their own expectations. And both eventually reached a point where staying connected came with a cost. These aren't just isolated moments or offhand comments. Every example we've discussed, from Olivia's strained conversations with Ethan, to Veronica's discomfort in group settings, to the subtle but telling body language in shared scenes, comes straight from episodes we've all watched, or from statements they've chosen to share publicly. And woven through it all is TLC's portrayal. Carefully edited, sometimes lighthearted, sometimes dramatic, but always framed in a way that leaves viewers wondering how much we're not seeing. The laughter at family dinners, the sweeping shots of country life, the warm music cues, they set a tone. But fans who follow the cast beyond the show know that real tension exists beneath that polish. So it's worth asking, what's the real cost of being part of a family reality TV show when the emotions are genuine and the conflicts aren't scripted? Is it just another job? Or does it take pieces of your private life you can't get back? Do you think the editing hides too much? Or do you believe the women's accounts, knowing that their words and actions on camera have already shown so much? Let me know what you think in the comments. Because the more we talk about what's actually been shown, the harder it becomes to ignore the difference between the on-screen image and the lived reality. This is Sabrina with TLC's Welcome to Plathville News, and I'll be here tracking every development as Season 7 unfolds. So hit subscribe keys, up the conversation going, and stay tuned. Because if the past is any indication, there's always more to the story than what makes it into the final cut.